AL are not a team that really prioritized this champion, so it seems to me like they are setting up for a weaker top lane matchup, something like the Gwen or even this Rumble.
Maybe even wondering, depending on what or when the Trundle ban was going to come out, if IG were just trying to preemptively set up for giving TheShy a decent tank. And with Trundle being banned off the board, that possibility is even more likely. IG have a plethora of junglers. The Pantheon is open. That was one of the junglers that we mentioned that was nerfed on this patch, but teams yet to really seem phased by it.
We've been seeing a lot of Pantheon. We saw it started to creep into Game 2, Game 3 drafts especially. So the early skirmishing already very good. We talked about Wei providing that structure. I think Pantheon obviously allows for a lot of early game playmaking here. So AL, what is their response going to be? I think snapping up something for your mid lane matchup and getting Tarzan into a good position is an idea that they can go for. But giving Hope one of his best performing AD carries on the Kai'Sa.
The first time I saw Hope have a pop-off Kai'Sa performance this season was legendary. And
you knew it was the truth. As soon as you saw it, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew that Hope was going to have his best year yet, and that was back at the beginning of Split 2, and it has given me so much excitement about seeing Hope ever since then on continuous games of the Kai'Sa. Shanks does lock in the Taliyah for himself, and now IG are considering what options to look for in matching the Taliyah. Annie does give you guaranteed stun setup, but I imagine that trying to match something like the Taliyah in terms of push, or even just mobility, Orianna will at least give you a little bit of extra control with the power of the Shockwave.
Okay. It's so tough for me here, Rafa, because yes, the Taliyah can be very disruptive, but being able to break up that pair of the Taliyah Pantheon that we saw so powerful in Split 2, and eventually what's going to happen is that a Taliyah is not going to have enough HP to deal with both a Pantheon and an Orianna Shockwave. So already we're setting up a lot of success, a lot of ways for Rookie to impact this game. We're getting a blind Yunara. I do not like this. I think this is a terrible part of this game to try to pick this champion, and AL has still so many options to stop a champion. Like, honestly, taking something like a Maokai here could be huge. Wukong works too.
Tarzan just opting in for the Monkey King himself, gives him that carry agency. As you mentioned, one of the big key factors for anyone's legend potentially struggling this split is just the lack of overall effective meta junglers that are carry junglers in their own right. We haven't seen any more Nefiri. There haven't been any real angles for Zed to operate as safely in these drafts. Wukong is pretty much the best thing that you can hope for. And for the second round of pick and bans, it's all about now trying to diminish the support pool as well as the top lane pool.
So Rumble comes out. In my mind, I would be thinking about other champions that TheShy has been able to pick up. Yorick becomes really interesting because both him and Flandre still play it. Ornn and Sion, in my mind, Flandre is undefeated on Sion this season, or this split, and so on 4 could be really interesting as a way to give yourself some frontline, right? When you're going into an Orianna Pantheon, how are they ever going to deal with this kind of champion?
True. like the out. Those were some cute cats. The call out with the Alistar though is nice. Just trying to find ways that Meiko will not be able to have reliable engage and setup, since so far your methods of going forward is a flash Pantheon stun carrying the Shockwave from Rookie's Orianna. Rakan also denied, and anyone's legend just going to slam down the blind Sion, and now it's up to TheShy on what he wants to use as an answer into the big tank.
I'm looking at this from AL. They have the ability to get into the backline, dissect what could be a really tricky situation from them. You have the Sion who can walk forward and get all of your plasma procs applied with that unstoppable onslaught so that this Kai'Sa can dive alongside the Taliyah, creating terrain. There's not a lot of mobility either from IG, so a pick from Shanks could be very deadly. And for IG, they want fights to go really long, which I think feels weird, especially when you have a Pantheon and you have a Kai'Sa on the opposite side. It feels like, to me, they're kind of at an odds here.
Mm-hmm. overall, IG range is relatively short. Yeah, Yunara has, not the shortest range compared to like a Kai'Sa, but Kai'Sa has insane mobility and repositioning with the killer instinct, so 575 versus 525 will not matter when the Kai'Sa is dive bombing you if the dive is enabled from anyone's legend. With the Ornn answered from TheShy, that gives them long-range engage, non-committal engage, so if things don't look good off of the Ram knockup, they can always just back off, and anyone's legend settle with the Nautilus. So when we're looking at both of these compositions here, Alk, standard team fighting 5-on-5, more so probably though for anyone's legend, because this dive bomb identity is so cohesively strong, whereas IG...
Yeah, like
so
Yunara's gonna help if the fight goes long. You do have a really strong first punch. You have to imagine with all the champions that IG have, finding that first pick or two should be relatively simple, because outside of the Scion and the Nautilus, it's not all that much resistances coming on through. Maybe on 2 items, Shanks will be a bit tankier thanks to him having the Seraph's Embrace. And so I need to watch, when we talk about our 2 mid laners here, what is the Taliyah going to be able to accomplish here? Because the ultimate should be so game warping that an Orianna cannot interact. A Yunara should not be able to interact with AL.
Would really love to see anyone's legend be proactive with this Taliyah, as it has been such a hotly contested mid laner this entire season, almost ever since the beginning of Split 2. As we start heading on to Summoner's Rift, it's going to be a battle of 2 of our teams that we expect to be contenders for the world stage in just a couple months' time, contenders for that finals match against who we expect to be the favorites in BLG. These 2 teams have to really start bringing it their best as we start heading in to the second round robin of our Rumble stage. Ladies and gentlemen, get those gyos out ready to go, because it is anyone's legend taking on Invictus Gaming for game 1 of our final series of the night.
4 seeds for Worlds, and AL and IG look like they are ready to go to internationals. But AL are stumbling right now, and you need to see them up their consistency and bring us back to that Split 2 form. What the hell? Wei already lost Flash and almost all his health. Huh? Huh?
Well, that is not good for IG. Okay, Alk, if I was IG and I just saw my jungler lose Flash and a lot of his HP, I would not be singing Giants right now. Or maybe you're even more encouraged to be like, it's okay, it's okay. Oh, we got a chance to see what happened in the picture-in-picture.
Oh, Kael with a max range hook. Damn, barely doesn't get that kill onto Wei. Still, I mean, aside from Pantheon not having Flash, I don't think they're going to have too much of an impact. I don't think Tarzan should be looking for early invades as a Wukong into Pantheon.
Yeah.
So
I think the times that it will matter is if Wei ever overextends himself for a skirmish, he will not have the same amount of safety as he would before, and plays where he would normally like to look for a flash W-empowered stun, he will not have access to it for the first 3-4 minutes of this play. But Tarzan went for blue buff, takes decoy second, so that he can go for a red buff steal.
Remember, this is something that we've been seeing some of our junglers, mostly Kanavi, experiment with back in Season 2, or Season Split 2. Really good job from Tarzan. You're going to cut out so much efficacy of this Pantheon. Not having that red buff early on means that some of the damage isn't quite there. And honestly, if he wants, what'll happen here is he'll start these Krugs, finish them. By the time that Wave finishes Raptors, he can be here for this bottom lane wave as they are pushing heavily. This could be a massive advantage found by AL early.
Yeah, this would be such a amazing play set up by Tarzan before IG have any idea. Look at the vision that's set up. IG have no idea that Tarzan is even around the corner. Kael flashing forward for Gala, but Tarzan will not reveal himself quite yet since Gala already dodged out on the dredge line. The summoner spell burned, and now Wei just finding out that his red buff and Krugs are gone.
That's so genius, though. I love that from Tarzan. Seeing that his bot lane isn't able to execute on that fight means, hey, let's just back off. I'm not going to go for this. Instead, I'm going to go towards our top side, defend my Raptors here. Shanks in a bit of a weird spot right now. It seems like he's going to get wave priority first. Tarzan's going to show, and now Wei.
He's running out of mana.
He's so screwed, man. Oh, no.
Wow.
He got 4 camps, and now he's homeless.
Yeah, that is crazy. Even with the fact that Shanks doesn't have nearly as much mana to combat in a 2v2, Rookie just cannot help him out, as Hope is forced to burn his flash from Meiko as he went down for the crash down. Kael looking for the dredge line, forces Meiko's own flash, but the stun puts Kael in a weird spot, and this could be first blood going over the hands of Gala's Yunara, as Hope is able to exchange one back onto Meiko.
It's a 1-for-1. Wei gets spotted out on vision, however, and this could be a dive. I don't think it's going to look like that, as Gala really wants to get this recall in, and honestly, happy days here for Wei. He got a respawn Gromp here. That's as good as it's going to get right now.
I mean, if I'm Pantheon, I'm sending it for this Kai'Sa. Wow, okay. I mean, Hope has no flash, he has no barrier?
Yeah,
You're
but
Pantheon,
Kael's coming.
Okay.
And now the TP was being committed,
Okay.
so... Oh, no! He got canceled! He can go back towards the top side. It's not all doom and gloom, but Wei is definitely getting the treatment here.
I don't know, Alec. I'm gonna be real. I mean, maybe it's the safer play to just go for Gromp and get your guaranteed level 4, but there was a moment where before the teleports came in or were even being considered, I think you could have forced the play onto Hope. He had no summoner spells, but IG, that's a missed opportunity potentially, but they go for the safer play, and now Tarzan is able to at least still walk away with a majority of the camp advantages on his side. And that's the big story right now, Alec, as Wei has not been able to really manufacture anything for himself as this Pantheon.
He's not even all that far behind. It's 200 gold. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not going to matter. We were even talking about this in the game 1 of the last series, where Shun got 2 camps. We were really excited, and then nothing really came out of it, because it eventually minimized itself. So it's some early game troubles here for IG. But again, laning phase has not really been their strength so far this season. I feel like when we've seen IG at their best, it has really been in watching their solo lanes and watching their laners walk in through team fights and how they're able to play the rest of the map from that point on. So for right now, Wei is going to stabilize himself. And something that I wanted to touch on, that graphic that we saw while we were talking about that, Rookie and TheShy, 400 games together. I think so incredible, especially TheShy, who has made it quite known at points that the only other person he really wants to play with as a player is Rookie. If any other Rookie lineup is possible, that's a lineup he's willing to play for. Otherwise, he's got no interest.
Mm-hmm. About a couple minutes away from Grub spawning. Both of the bot lanes have already taken to the top side of the map. Doesn't seem like either Wei or Tarzan are going to try and invest any time into looking for an early dragon. Another bot lane 2v2 all in. Meiko burning down to the ignite.
Gala?
But Gala trying to ramp up onto Kael. That is the Yunara damage just stacking up. Hope trying to look for the 1v2, but the barrier comes in clutch for Gala. That's the feats of warfare secured for IG, and Gala and Meiko are running this bot lane.
I think a lot of people might say, why didn't Hope use the barrier there? But versus a Rel, she has the shield break on her Q. Shanks coming on through. This should be a free kill. All right, he gets the shutdown onto Gala, at least makes up for some of that play, and a perfect time for him to roam because, I mean, Hope and Kael, they respawn, they're able to grab this mid wave, and they can help Tarzan if he wants to contest for these dragons.
It's about another minute before Grub spawns, so that now would be the time to do so, but we'll take a look back at the replay at just how close this 2v2 was.
So, good damage. Meiko doesn't have Q. That's what I'm looking for here. That is the shield break part of the kit. Meiko doesn't have flash either. He goes for a crash down. I mean, he has to have Q in this moment, and I mean, it's maybe close if he gets the barrier. Between that and the stun, it's unfortunate. It does mean that Gala starts off 3-1 in this game at almost 800 gold over his opponent. He's going to have Kraken Slayer very soon. If not, maybe even the Blade of the Ruin King, which seems like that is more likely going to be his option.
Yeah. You are going into the Scion, so someone is going to have to start shredding the HP off of this giant meat stick that anyone's legend have at their disposal from the top lane. We're about a few seconds away from the Grub spawning. None of the junglers went for the dragon, so their tempo is now dedicated to just trying to be in position for this Grub fight. Level 6s, both on the docks for Tarzan and Wei. level 7 on Shanks and Rookie respectively. Weaver's Wall will not be available, but that might not matter in the slightest. We'll see if anyone's Legend can still brute force their way through it. And Flandre, the fact that he's walked all the way towards topside, if TheShy wants to contest, he will have to burn teleport.
TheShy does have the ultimate, so if he gets into mid lane, he can impact this fight right now. Remember, no Weaver's Wall available for Shanks.
Flandre stepping up, just making sure that Wei cannot get into the river, but he's now
too
taking
much
a lot
damage.
of damage. TheShy now getting in range, and they're not able to get more grubs. Good shockwave flash from Rookie, secures the kill onto Flandre. He'll step up in the undead passive, but IG will now get a chance to secure the remaining 2 grubs.
One of the things you have to learn, Meiko's going for more!
Meiko sends it over the wall with the Magnet Storm. Wei comes in with the Grand Starfall, finds another one onto Hope's head, and Kael will fall next. It's absolute disaster for anyone's Legend on their way away from the grub fight. Tarzan should survive here, but IG being able to find a huge early game win.
They get 3 grubs. Gala gets to take this mid wave, and he gets more and more fed. That shockwave from Rookie was impressive. And this all starts. Tarzan gets caught by himself. Oh no, can he find Rookie?
He's sending it for Rookie. Okay, Cyclone will at least kill him, right? He flashes over Gala's W slow, but now Tarzan has got nowhere else to go. Was
what are we
really
doing?
Worth it just to send it? I feel like that was overambitious.
And now he's late because he has all of these camps up, right? Wei is going to finish his camps, and he has 2 options here. Depending on how much gold he has, he can go reset, buy, and take his items. Flandre teleported back to this, so he's going to get some plates. I think a big mistake here from AL, and one that started with Flandre there on the Scion. An important task or mental thing you need to be taking into consideration when you are playing frontline is when you are allowed to take damage. When and how much damage you take as a tank, because you're not building Warmogs a lot of the time. Health is a valuable resource. Thankfully, as a tank, you usually have a lot more than your teammates, but that right there, Flandre loses, again, a third of his HP bar before the fight starts, and suddenly now AL have to retreat from the pit.
And what's nice about the setup here, we'll take a look back at the replay, actually, before I get into the point, but you're right. I mean, Flandre is taking all this damage, and anyone's Legend are not even focused on finishing the rest of the grubs, and by this time, it's just too late.
I don't get it. The rest of this fight is really well played by IG. It's a free kill, right? And then they're on vision, so a great collapse from the rest of the team. Even TheShy using this Call of the Forge God to be a little tricky with it. I don't get it here from AL. This is more of those poor decisions we've seen from them coming into Split 3.
And one of the cool things that, as we go back to live, that gave IG the advantage for that Dragon there. TheShy didn't have to use the teleport. He just went top lane, answered the push of Shanks, whereas Flandre was forced to use the teleport on the bot side of the map. So IG could always threaten to have TheShy move first cross map, as now he still retains the teleport spell, whereas Shanks just used his own to try and keep TheShy locked into this lane on the top side of the map. We'll see if IG can find a window to get a really proactive play going. Although, this just might be... Wait, hang on.
What's up?
I think TheShy is just going to teleport bot side. Okay.
Yeah. Mark, I gotta ask you as a jungler, man. How frustrating is this game if you are Tarzan? You stole 2 of his camps, and I know you specifically would hate this. You steal a bunch of his camps, you think you outplayed him, and now... We're 12 minutes into this game. Enemy team is 7-3, and they got the first dragon, the grubs, the first 3 kills. What the hell happened?
I mean, well, the frustration was definitely spelled in Tarzan's attempt to just send it for Rookie and even flashing forward just to guarantee the kill, because to me, you make those plays when you feel like, I need this kill shut down gold, otherwise the game is lost. And if you're feeling that desperate early on into the game, when there's still plenty of time to have your Kai'Sa scale up, have your Scion scale up as a giant meat tank, have Wukong scale up and get stronger and stronger with each item spike, it just feels like anyone's Legend has lost a lot of the belief of their ability to turn things around. I mean, look at the gold lead. It's not that big. Like, anyone's Legend need to calm down, but IG are just very content with the state of the map that they're given. Gala is decently accelerated, Blade of the Ruin King, and a 1,000 gold advantage over Hope's Kai'Sa, so we'll see how the next fight plays out with the Mountain Dragon coming up in 3 minutes here.
And thankfully, Hope's Kaisa is very good. Very, very good. It is Yunara, so some new champion diff may be coming on through. But we do expect that AL are going to have really strong team fights within the next maybe 5 minutes. They are hitting those item breakpoints like you had talked about. Shanks about halfway through his Seraph's Embrace here. This could be a spot where they make the find. Kael and Hope are on the way.
Ooh, they baited Rookie and Meiko in. Being able to pin them in that tri-bush, well played, and the rest of Anyone's Legend have just surged on over to the top side. Flandre even TPing to make sure that that play goes well for them. And just like that, Anyone's Legend are able to bounce back and stabilize the gold advantage.
IG, and specifically Rookie, had pulled Meiko away from Gala. Gala, you're in mid lane. You'll be fine for yourself. I need our support right now to hover me on these waves so that Taliyah doesn't make a side lane play. Well, guess what? We overextended, and now both of us end up going down. The biggest benefactor on IG is actually going to be Gala and TheShy. TheShy being allowed to hit this turret away from the Scion for the time being. And that slows down the pace of the game, but I don't think it makes or breaks it so far. And look, right here again, like, Wei's in no position to use his ultimate here. This is a great pincer. I think the teleport from Flandre is a bit much, but I think he ends up using the unstoppable onslaught to make it down to this bot lane in time.
The nice thing about that ultimate is got great global usages to move either for a play or at the end of a good play. Is
nice.
IG and Anyone's Legend are gearing up for the next couple of objectives spawning. Rift Herald in 7 seconds, Mountain Dragon in about a minute's time. IG currently have decent amount of numbers on the top side for this play, taking check of Summoner Spell. Everyone on IG has their flash aside from Meiko. Same thing for Anyone's Legend.
Our two mid laners with the tier items, they will unlock in the middle of this fight. Shanks already level 11. Rookie does not have that second point in his ultimate. And that'll mean that our mid laners are going to be very, very tanky to deal with.
I mean, Waze secures the Rift Herald. Shanks just TPs for a reposition.
Bruh.
Here comes Flandre on the choo-choo train. The Unstoppable Onslaught does not connect. And now TheShy flashing forward. Kael, the Forge God, onto multiple members. He's stalling the backline while the rest of IG reposition here. But Anyone's Legend still have enough gas in the tank. You saw Hope fly right on in, assassinate Gala, and Hope still survives as he flashes backwards. Wade went for the big play, but doesn't find revenge for his fallen ADC, and the rest of Anyone's Legend cleaning up this fight. It's a 5-0 ace for Anyone's Legend.
You called out Hope. I'm calling out Shanks, man. This guy put work onto the back line and completely disrupted IG's ability to get into that. Their setup for that fight was very sloppy from them. And AL finally get a part in this game that looks as confident as we were in them beforehand. You have Rookie not really putting down the ball in a great spot, so he's not stopping anyone from AL. And watch Shanks throughout this fight, constantly throwing out walls, flicks onto multiple members, gets Meiko first, finds Rookie in the back end of this, and all of this unraveled earth just completely makes it impossible for IG to ever play.
And it's so crazy that TheShy gave so much time supposedly to IG to restabilize themselves in the initial engage, flashing forward, getting a multi-man knockup, but like you called out, they are on top of the unraveled earth, and Flandre was able to effectively do his frontline job just better than TheShy, because Flandre lived until the very end, flashed at the last second, and Anyone's Legend once again find themselves in control of the game. It's been a bit back and forth in this game one of this series, but Anyone's Legend team fighting and overall decisiveness starting to show its veterancy, and the reason why they were able to walk away with the Split 2 title.
For IG, that'll have already completed their feats of strength because of the fact that they got the first dragon. They even got the Herald there, so they had already gotten the kills, so don't care about first turret. Who needs that? We're going to be moving on to Flandre. No flash, does have his ultimate. Can Meiko block? That's a yes.
Unstoppable Onslaught is blocked by Meiko, as you called it. The good stun from Wei locks Flandre down even further. And they'll try to
looking for Rookie right now in mid.
Kill over to Gala. It is given. Big shutdown, but Rookie is called out. And a flash was used by the Orianna to no avail. The Orianna still falls. And Anyone's Legend are in position to not only take out the mid-tier 1, but also the dragon on the back half.
This is the game one we have seen from AL all season. They have won all of their game ones going into the split right now. It's so impressive to see, but the problem that comes and bites AL in the back later on, it's them being able to close out series. Game 3s have been a little bit of a trouble for this team. As we take a look, Shanks is going to use his Weaver's Wall to get back in. Can he survive? He still has Flash.
Ooh, good Flash, just barely avoiding the Q stun from Meiko. You saw that Shanks was trying to use the Weaver's Wall to hopefully not only get to the turret in time, but also stop the Rift Herald from making the charge. It still gets the damage down, but the tier 2 turret still remains standing, and the Dragon is secured for AL.
This is what I was looking at. When you were calling the Scion fight, I looked on the minion wave and I was like, hey, I looked on the mini map, I was like, hey, I see Tarzan walking towards Rookie. They are looking for Rookie's Flash constantly. We saw it in the top lane play when they were trying to get Rookie out of that spot, and we saw him go down the first time, or one of the other times. Now they happen again. This Orianna not having Flash could make it very difficult for IG to play, especially as a linchpin to this composition.
Yeah, we talked about it in draft. For AL, this composition is very holistic and cohesive with each other in one single direction, and that is forward. So many champions can enable Hope to easily Killer Instinct to a stunned or CC target. And now without a Flash, Rookie becomes a higher priority target for them to easily pick off. Gala, his Flash cooldown will be coming up just in a few seconds here. Wait, Gala... Dude, okay. One of my gripes about the Spectator client is whenever a summoner spell is about to come back...
It turns dark
cooldown,
for a second? Yeah.
It turns dark for a second. And it makes me second guess myself thinking, what the heck? Is it now gone? Did he just burn it? But it is gone. His Otacon respawns on the map.
AL are already on it, and they have a Kaisa, so this turns into a very easy contest for them. You see that Shanks is not even near his team, but he has Weaver's Wall coming up. Rookie is so far pushed underneath his turret right now that he can't go for another blue trinket comes on out. So IG know now that they're going to have to fight for this, and Rookie's making his way over to this objective.
Meiko puts a ward down in the tri-bush just to see if there's going to be a Weaver's Wall angle. Shanks throws it out at 5,000 HP. TheShy is able to break a hole in the wall, and so...
Way's not here,
though.
though.
Come down, but Flandre, he interrupts Way's Grand Starfall. He's not going to get a chance to get into the pit. It's secured by Tarzan, and Flandre has done his job of keeping Way and Rookie at bay on the left side flank, but now Anyone's Legend have to turn around and turn this fight around, or Anyone's Legend are going to have to be retreating because their tank is just about to die.
They're
Tarzan
looking for it.
Anyone's Legend got to bail. They just lost their 2 frontline members, both Tarzan and Flandre biting the dust.
Oh, look at Rookie, look at Rookie.
Using the stasis at the perfect moment, avoiding the seismic shove. Shockwave connects right onto Kael, and Shanks and Hope is the last member standing. Killer Instinct.
Oh!
A kill for Gala. Penta for Gala.
And it's on the new Yunara. Pentakill coming in for Gala. Stone-faced as ever. IG are going to look to make good off of that play. They lost the Otacon, so a lot of gold and experience going over to AL, but they could not fight back on the end of that trade. A turret goes down for IG, and another one expected here in bottom lane.
And just like that, the tables have turned. It looks so good, Alk. Flandre stops Way from getting into the Otacon pit. But it just seemed like Anyone's Legend were indecisive of whether they wanted to actually fight or just retreat.
And look at Hope here. I mean, he's completely split. He's sitting next to Flandre. He thinks that Way's going to jump onto him. He's not at all in the right position. So Hope is looking, trying to see if there's an angle in this fight, but it is too split. There are not enough tools left for AL. And at that point, you should have just let Flandre sacrifice himself, because now you've thrown away the entire kitchen sink and the baby with the bathwater.
It's just so confusing. Awesome for IG. I mean, you can see the coach's reactions like, oh, nice, pentakill for Gala. But to be quite honest, it was really Anyone's Legend just kind of spoon-feeding themselves into IG's mouths one after another. The indecisiveness now might plague Flandre as he's caught out on the side lane, has no flash, and yeah, this is another easy pick for IG to make.
This is what we've seen consistently from them, trying to make picks on the side lanes to open up the other side of the map. Gala's going to take this wave immediately. Way and Meiko reset. Dragon spawning in 35 seconds, and AL are already in position. All of this vision here put with red wards from anyone's legend, but they have a numbers disadvantage. Flandre does have teleport in 20 though, so he can show up for this fight. And there will be some summoner spells missing, as well as some pretty key ultimates like that ultimate from Wei.
IG now find themselves in the advantage state, 2,000 gold ahead of anyone's legend. The Otacon buff still was secured for AL and will give them a nice bonus in these team fights, but the way that IG are able to bounce back some of these item spikes coming in. 3 items now for Gala off the back of that pentakill. This Yunara is so strong as long as IG can create space for their AD carry, as AL currently struggling to get into the river.
Do you know how impressive it is, by the way, for a team that lost the Otacon to be even or ahead in certain roles in experience right now?
Yeah.
That is a massive win for IG and keeping them in this game. They're just going to trade the Dragon. They know this does not matter. Let's take turrets. Let's get Gala into an amazing spot way further ahead than this Kaisa and absolutely leave no avenue for AL to maybe even wiggle back into this game.
And they spotted Tarzan looking for a flank around in the red quadrant jungle, and Rookie went hunting, is able to at least scout out Tarzan, and now this monkey is all by himself. Tries to throw out the Cyclone. Hope is going to send the dive bomb right after Gala, but the Shockwave will burst Hope out of the game and put in the death realm for 40 more seconds, as the rest of this fight should surely go IG's way. There's no real damage left. Shanks is deleted, and the rest of anyone's legend is just falling and completely collapsing.
That's the Dragon, and that'll probably be the Baron as well. Gala does way too much damage. 12 and 2, almost 4 items. He's going to have a GA on 4. An impressive game for IG, and one that, honestly, Raafaa, I think comes from out of a place of surprise for me, considering that Gala and Meiko, so maligned in this split, so far have not had the best performances for this team. But I think in split 3, Gala is starting to pull his weight on a team that he was kind of one of the dead weights, if we're being honest.
Yeah, Gala aligned with, hang on, Tarzan might be in trouble here.
Oh man, just get the Baron, bro. Just
what is going on?
I don't know. AL look tired. They look confused. And we've been giving them so much credit. They'll make it to playoffs. They'll look good later on. They just have played a lot of games between Split 2 and MSI and coming back home to the LPL. But at this point, they might have to make a play-in series.
Okay, well, Kael does have Smite. It's a 600 Smite versus a 1200 from Wei, and he's Pantheon, so he should have an easier time to secure this, but there's a lot of damage coming out from Flandre.
He's out of range.
And Shanks Shockwave, he's in range! Shanks! It was 6 HP! And he gets the last hit on the Baron! And all AL have to do is just retreat, but Hope wants to continue fighting with Killer Instinct, finds the kill on Meiko, but now Hope has nowhere else to go. He's forced to flash over the wall, but Rookie will look to follow, but the Blast Cone saves Hope! And anyone's legends still find themselves fighting back in this game.
Wei moved back over the wall to get out of that position, and if you have TheShy in the area, he can break a section of the Taliyah wall. Huge mistake coming in from AL. Yes, they still grab the Baron, but Raafaa, look at who's alive. Who is going to use this Baron? Kaisa, Kael, and Tarzan. I don't think it's enough. 6,000 gold is the advantage over to Gala at this moment.
The observer's showing us why Tarzan was caught out in the first place. He has been continuously in deep enemy territory, just trying to counter jungle and continue maintaining a farm advantage and looking for ways to accelerate his power spikes. As we look back at how close this was, I saw 6 HP.
Yep, and look at Shanks here. Gets him over the wall. Wei flashes over this pit. He's not in range to smite anymore. What the hell is Wei doing? What? There's no jungler, and even if there's a spellbook smite, I am confounded by Wei in this game. A lot of early jungle pathing went into him, thanks to Tarzan, like you had noted. And now we're back. It's maybe a pick on a Meiko. Tarzan's trying to sneak out, should be fine for the time being. Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. And IG, they need to slow it back down. Let's bring it back to what worked for us for the last 20 minutes.
You can see the panic that came from Wei's character model. As soon as he flashed over the wall, he's like, oh crap, I need to smite, I need to throw a Q, but he shorts the Q, doesn't hold it for the extended so that he can try and execute it with the extra bonus damage you get. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Wei being able to barely recall. This game has been definitely a game of all time in LPL, and it's one of those bangers. As Wei sends it with a Grand Starfall, instantly gets cycloned and knocked up. Wei might be in trouble. The seismic shove, turret falls, Wei falls. Anyone's Legend now find themselves 5-4 on the map.
Okay. If IG were to lose with Yunara's first pentakill, I know we've been focusing you as a jungler, but as an AD carry player get a pentakill and I'm 15-2 and we can't win this game, the locker room, I'm going to just be silent. There's nothing I can do. I did my job. Where's the rest of my team right now? Wei getting caught out, a few mistakes, and they're really small, right? We're 20-14. It is a 2,000 gold lead here for IG. I think the crux of the matter, and maybe something that they might have to revisit going later into the series, is the dragon control. It's 2 dragons to IG. It'll now potentially be 2 dragons if AL are able to secure this, and them not being able to get all of the dragons early on might have spelled doom for them, as this allows for AL to have more time into this game, the grace of being able to scale.
Yeah, despite all of the shortcomings that anyone's Legend have experienced this game and some of the fumbles they've given over to IG in the mid-game as well, they are being given windows back into the game and ways for them to hold on and get back to a point where they can overcome IG in the 5v5. As this dragon is about to spawn in the next 10 seconds, no flash on Rookie, no flash on Gala. These two are high priority targets for anyone's Legend to blow up in the blink of an eye, and IG say, screw the dragon, we're gonna try and use this wave pressure and just push all the way into your base.
Okay, here we go. IG have a little bit more, those 2 grubs putting in overtime. Another situation where I think IG are playing this part of the map fine. They recognize that there's no point of a soul. There's no threat of that potentially happening for at least the next 10 minutes. So let's take more structures that'll open up the inhibitor. There's a Baron spawning in a minute and a half. IG can litter this dragon, or litter this side of the jungle with wards, at least take away some of these jungle camps, and start to starve Tarzan out of this game. Really, really intelligent stuff coming in from Invictus to hopefully get them back into a spot of contention.
Yeah, now they'll have super minions pouring in through the mid wave that should guarantee priority for any of these objectives coming up. Baron spawning the next minute and few seconds of change. We don't have another Ocean Dragon for quite some time, so this would be the big focus of the objective here. There's still a GA that anyone's Legend have to take into consideration when looking to dive bomb Gala in the backline with this composition that they have. But I have seen some atrocious things happen this game, Alex, so this game is still in anyone's ball court here.
So I'm looking right now for kill records because Gala being 15-2 is really damn impressive. MSI last year, for only looking at tier 1s, Pays set it on his Kaisa versus Aphelios. He went 28-2. The closest one for the LPL I can find is LDL 2021. It was TTH. He got 23 kills in a single game playing Kaisa versus Draven. So I want to see it. I want to see if we can get... I think we can maybe ask some of our historians to try to pull this while we are on the show, because he's getting close to that record. And I think there's at least one fight left in this game.
Weaver's Wall coming out, trying to split up IG members on the Baron Pit, already at 5,000 HP. Tarzan walks up, still could be in range. IG have to decide. Ooh, the flash from Kael does not land the dredge line on the Gala. He just sidesteps it. 4,000 HP now on the Baron. Call the Forge God coming out from the side.
Meiko's behind.
For the left side, Meiko with a beautiful flank. Tarzan has ascended onto the backline. Break up the fight. Hope sends him for the killer instinct, but Rookie saw some time with the stasis. Wei tries to single out Tarzan. Rookie forced the flash. He still falls anyway, but Hope is now compromised. He's under fire.
Look at Gala.
It's a triple kill for Hope, but now the Yunara gets the thrive and survive through it all. Anyone's legend, all depending on Shanks and Flandre to carry out this fight, but TheShy on this
one
horn
more,
is about to ram his head straight through Shanks' face, and Flandre falls next. IG prevail with another ace.
I don't think IG can end the game on this push. It's 30 seconds before the next member. They have 2 grubs and a minion wave. Inhibitor will not respawn for another 2 minutes. I think this is dangerous. Gala has, he has the Guardian Angel. Are they going to go for it?
13 seconds on Kael. 14 seconds on Hope. It might be enough time. Gala has a GA.
Oh,
They're
no.
putting their Hope into it. I think it's going to be enough, Dimitri. It's 6 seconds on Hope, but it's not going to be enough time. Gala and TheShy should be able to close out game 1 for IG, and anyone's legend will fall.
Amazing game 1, and goddamn, how can you not be a fan of this IG team? They are the most fun team to watch this split by far this season. You think about their JDG base race that they just had, the base race they had versus Weibo recently in Split 3, this team always puts up entertaining series, and absolutely delivering here against our former champions in Split 2.
A show-stopping performance from Gala on the Yunara. Pentakill for the Yunara as well. Probably I believe our first pentakill for Yunara in the entirety of pro play. We would have to dig through the tier 2 scenes and see if there were any.
No, there's no other pentakills. It's okay.
All right. Well, congratulations to Gala. As, like I said, pentakill, awesome. Still feels weird because anyone's legend were really caught in a weird spot of indecisiveness after the Otacon take. And one of the big things you highlighted is how strange it is to be a team that gets Otacon and still be behind in control of the game, in gold advantage, and just overall momentum.
That one's a tough one to lose, I think, also, because we were teasing it. We were saying, okay, Wei has this horrendous start to the game. Level 1 gets found out, loses his flash, has to recall immediately, gets invaded for 2 of his camps, doesn't even get anything on the end of it.
Yeah.
And still wins the game. Gets outsmited at the Baron Pit for 6 HP. Still wins the game. I'm really impressed with this level of IG, because even if it's not perfect, like we saw from AL, a couple of months ago before MSI, they are still performing in really interesting ways. I think Meiko has had such standout performances so far coming into Split 3. He was already kind of the main go button for this team and really had to dial that in. IG's coming together. This is going to be one of our top 3 teams going into the playoffs.
And it's nice you shout out Meiko there because he had some really clutch engages that propelled IG into a state where they were momentarily in control of various points of the game. I think about the snap engage on the 2 members of AL that were backing the Tribush after the Grub take, being able to propel themselves and control that early game, which is where that initial blue part of the graph you see there. Then obviously the dip was anyone's legend manufacturing a decent comeback. But then once again, it is Meiko finding the flank as the rel in the fight around the Baron Pit. Meiko once again being able to follow up and provide so much needed engage, following up on TheShy or setting up for TheShy, and then being able to come back and peel for Gala, because by the end, Gala was the big president on campus here for IG, and as long as he was protected and he was living until the very end, he would be able to eliminate every last member of AL.
I'm just watching Gala in this fight. He's just hammering away at Flandre. And even Hope with the heroics on the Kaisa, it is not enough to bring home a victory here in game number 1. And I misspoke earlier. Previously, before last night, AL had won all of their game 1s regardless of the rest of the series. I forgot yesterday they lost game 1 up against Top Esports. And here again, either way, that is broken with IG winning game number 1. And just looking from start to finish, I think more coherent than their opponents. I feel like AL, I don't know how to describe the feeling of like IRL lag, but this team looks disheveled. they're not making coherent plays around the map. The reason why we saw them so good in split number 2 was even if they were getting hands diffed in a couple of their games, couple of their series, they were always the more intelligent team. But if you're self-proclaiming as not understanding the meta and you're still getting hands diffed, that's not a good look for a team that we have a lot of expectations for.
Some of the hallmarks of this team were their understanding of how to approach and create pincer angles in these team fights. Having Kael approach from one side of the fight, Flandre from another, or Tarzan even from another angle, and having them happen simultaneously so that it creates so much disruption that it naturally just creates space for both Hope and Shanks to act with free will. And that was just not happening a majority of this game. The couple of times where anyone's Legend are able to find victorious fights, it's actually just from IG fumbling. And it's just very concerning, because what happened to the team that we saw take a championship title at the end of Split 2? All the creative angles that they were able to just really come up with and coordinate well, and now it just seems like in these moments where they're undecisive, they're just unsure and lacking confidence of saying, hey guys, we're moving forward as a unit. Hey guys, we're retreating together as a unit. There's mixed calls.
Yeah. Something that's really funny too is IG has not been able to beat AL since spring of 2024. It's been almost a year and a half since they're able to take just a single game win. They've beaten them all year long here in 2025. Even last year's lineups didn't find as much success. This is the first game win that IG have been able to take over AL in a really long time. So I think impressive enough. And while it does come at the expense of a defending champion, I think it's just so exciting for IG as a team that we're looking to be top 3, top 2 in the league potentially, if they can kind of level up their game and beat the demon that is BLG in top esports. As we take a look, Gala earns our MVP. I think once he got that pentakill, barring them like absolutely blowing up this game, Gala was meant to earn this MVP.
Yeah. The pentakill kind of guarantees you getting the MVP vote there.
It's a bit of a freebie, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Yunara pentakill, first one in pro play ever, which is pretty exciting. That is a hell of a way to kick off our final series of the night. But we're going to be taking a short break. When we come back, it's going to be game 2 between Anyone's Legend and IG.